Okay, this is Orlando Wilson, and in this video in our international security series, where I talk to some interesting people about international security issues, I'm talking to a young lady out of Germany/Switzerland, Inga Fraus. Inga spent 10 years in the German police, and she's now transitioning over into private sector. Her and her husband Max, with his paramedic background, are set up a company called Foxpedition, which is offering security, management, consultation, and paramedic services to private individuals, NGOs, etc., adventure travelers. So in this chat I have with Inga, we talk about her time in the German police, also how her and Max got their residency in Paraguay, a little bit about their adventures, their travels, and also a little bit about what they're planning for the future. So I hope you enjoy the video, and I'll be posting a link to Inga's LinkedIn in the comments section of this video, and also a link to their website. So enjoy.
Okay.
So Inga, nice to meet you. We've chatted a little bit. I know Max. Max done one of my courses. He done very well, very professional. So I'm happy to talk to you guys. So tell me, what interests me is you were in the police for German police for 10 years, right?
Yes, right.
Okay, why did you leave the police? Why did you? Because generally when people are in the police, they're in it forever. So
Yeah,
why
that's
did you?
true. I left because my chances to have a career were very limited. So I joined the police to make a change in the society, to care about the society, and yeah, somehow I didn't find that anymore. So I always was very interested in working with NGOs. So yeah, now I'm studying security and disaster management. So I get in contact with some of the NGOs, and I think, okay, maybe I can look for the change I want to make in NGOs more. So yeah.
So back to the police, where were you? You were in, of course, you're in Germany. What was your main jobs in the police? You were operational, right? You're frontline.
Yes, right. I started in northern Germany, so very close to the border. At first I was in beach patrol, and then I changed to highway police. And that was very interesting because we had the border to Denmark, so we were exchanging a lot with the Danish colleagues. And then I changed to southern Germany, to Bavaria, and then I was at the riot police in Munich. And it was also very interesting. It was completely different from what I did before, because we always were in big groups. We were responsible for demonstrations and for bigger events. And then I changed to motorcycle squad because I was interested in having a driving license to motorcycle. And this was also very completely different from the riot police or the highway police. So yeah, and this was where I stopped my career basically in motorcycle.
Okay, that's an interesting career. Tell me about the various things. I want to ask you about a few of those things. When you was up on the traffic police, what were your main problems? What were the main type of things you encountered? What was the main type of crime?
We had basically a lot of crime, like drunk driving. We had a lot. We had driving without driving license. Maybe it's a German problem, but there are people coming from other countries to Germany and they don't have the driving license for Germany because they just have it in their country. And yeah, but we also were there if the other police squads, if they needed help, then of course we were there too, because we are patrolling the whole city and not just one village or something. So yeah, we're basically helping.
Did you get I don't know if you guys would have covered this. Did you get many trafficking problems? People trafficking, human trafficking, narco trafficking?
In northern Germany, it was a bigger problem because we had the border nearby. But in Munich, I think Munich is the safest city in whole Germany. I don't think that the problem there is extremely big. Of course, it is there, but for us, we have some problems with people working without work permit. So yeah, of course, they are very low paid. And we also had a squad for that. so that they were just looking for who's working where and is it all legal.
So when you was up north, did you encounter anything to do with trafficking? Much trafficking?
Yeah, we have I wouldn't call it problems, but the Hells Angels were operating there. I don't know if that's an international organization,
Yeah.
but the Hells Angels were having a lot of clubs there, having a lot of nightlife establishments, and so they were ruling the trafficking business. And it's hard to, because they are so based there, that's hard to get rid of them, or it's hard to work against it. So
I don't know if you remember, it's most probably before your time, but there used to be in the 90s big gang wars between the Hells Angels and I think it was another group, the Bandidos, throughout Scandinavia.
Yeah,
I think Sweden, people don't realize this. Even back then, they were firing RPGs at each other, and there's a big gang war throughout Scandinavia.
I think it's better now, but we also had that because in northern Germany there are always very small villages, and normally they're just farmers living there or people which are not criminals at all. And then you have, I think it happened once in these 3 years I've been there, that there was a massive shooting between these two gangs. And of course, the northern police, they're just, very small police stations. And this was a big challenge for everyone involved. So
this is what people don't understand. A lot of the criminals, everybody focuses on the cities. But again, if you're a criminal organization, you want to be away from people. You want to be away from, how can I put it? You want to be away from people that's aware and away from people watching. So a lot of the larger criminal organizations will look for smaller towns, smaller areas where they can just disappear or blend in, and that's it. I was speaking to somebody recently in another place, and they reckon they got criminals, something's moved in next to them on an old farm. So you know what, it's common, but people always focus on the cities. Let's talk about Munich. You said riot police. Is German riot police always in the day, they had a good reputation? I remember our guys in the military, when I was in the British military, it was always like, always be wary of German police because they'll beat you up first and ask questions later. That's it. So the German riot police always had a good reputation. Yeah. Call it a good reputation.
I would say it's so because I think the population sees us as police. They don't see this is riot police, this is normal police. But of course, we looked a little bit different. We had different clothing, and the normal police, they have the normal uniforms. They are dark blue or blue in general. And we have like black all over overalls. And of course, we looked a little bit different, a little bit more scary. We have always been in a group. So of course, there's not always a riot, not always a demonstration. So we drive normal patrol. And if we get out of the car, 5 people in black overall suits to take up a little accident or something, because at first they are like, the population's like, oh my God, who's coming there? But I think in Munich, the police has a very high standard. So it's not that we go somewhere, beat people up and go away. So we're just making our normal work. And as a citizen of Munich, you can always, if the police did something wrong, you can write a letter. There's like a service station for people. So I think in Munich, having feedback from the population is quite easy. So we cannot just go somewhere, beat someone up and go away with no consequences. That's
awesome. Hey, how long did it take you to join the police? What's the process for joining the German police?
You apply. It's best to apply 2 years in advance. And then I joined it in northern Germany, so I can talk about that. You have to, of course, you need a citizenship from Europe. And then
from Europe, Germany?
No, from the EU. That's enough. But of course, you need German. You need to speak German, of course, on a very high level. You do a test for that. You need, yeah, what's it called? Of course, you need a school education where you learn stuff you need in Germany, like math, like English, like German, of course, stuff like that. Then you need to go to through this assessment progress. So I think it's 3 days. You have 1 day with how is your education. So you do a test, a multiple choice test, where you fill in gaps about the history of Germany, for example, or normal geopolitics. You
Normal
need
education stuff.
Yes, right.
How long is the police training?
The police training are 2.5 years.
2.5 years.
Right. So quite long, because you learn a lot of, yeah, of course, the laws about Germany. You have shooting training, but also you have ethics, like how to talk to people, how to progress bad situation which will happen in your life as a police officer.
Let me bash the US cops. Do you know how long it takes to become a regular cop in US, not feds, etc., just a regular cop?
I think 3 months.
No, 6 months. They're not
6
that
months.
bad. It takes longer to become a hairdresser.
Yeah.
It's like 6 months of community college. You do like 8 till 5. That's it.
Yeah.
So it's been down to, I say about a lot of police, even but as far as UK training, I think it's only like 4 to, I'll be corrected. I'm not going to say how long the training is, but it's not as long as 2 years. I think it's like 6 months, and there's a lot of probation.
Yeah.
But in a lot of places, it's like cops, like in Germany and most of Europe, they wouldn't be policing, they wouldn't be regular police, you'd be FBI or a Fed in the US. Whereas, and I said this how many times, a lot of the guys that security guards in Europe, the better security guards, would be police in the US. This is why the US has so many problems they have so many problems, because they don't have the basic training that a lot of police have, or in Europe have, that they should have. I'll just jump in again. I know one in some places, I know one of the Baltic states years ago, I don't know what's like these days, it took 6 months to become a security guard. US, you're a cop. So, all right, good. So you're down in Munich. What were the main type of crimes you had to deal with there?
In Munich, I would say everything. So I think there's not one crime I did not report to. So I was a lot in riot police. So of course we had like crimes against or people who were fighting. We had a lot. We had. I was traffic police, so we had a lot of drunk driving.
It's the regular stuff, regular problems.
But of course, domestic crimes we also had, especially while there was this Corona lockdown. We had a lot of domestic crimes. So it really was. I really saw that it went up, because normally you don't have it as often. But then we had it like once a week or something. So and I also.
How do you see from the time you joined the police? Let's say crime trends in Germany, right? From when you joined the police, from when you left, what were the changes in crime?
I witnessed that the respect for police went down. So maybe there is a difference between the village. I have been in northern Germany and the bigger city. But I think that the respect went down. So I think in northern Germany, I had it once that someone was very disrespectful, so that I write a report about it. And in Munich, I had it like once a month or something. So I don't know if it's the switch between village and big city, but I think that the respect went down. So crimes against the police, I think, for me personal, went up. I don't know if there's a statistic to it which prove it, but for me, I felt that it was very much more disrespectful the last years than it was before.
What about crime? What about other crimes? Was there more street crime? Was there more?
Yeah, I think they're more with weapons, like with knives, crimes with knives, or crimes with pistols. Because in northern Germany, I think I witnessed one crime, like one robbery, and in Munich there's one robbery, like, I don't know. I don't want to tell statistics here because everyone can look it up, but I think that crimes like robberies or crimes with knives or crimes with pistols went up. So.
Okay. Max was saying when you were doing the motorcycle, I think this must have been when you're on the motorcycle patrol, you dealt with some VIPs?
Yes, right.
How did you find? How did you find that? How was that?
Yeah, that I think that was very cool because it was very different from what I did before. And of course, we have not been close protection officers, but we have been in the squad. So it was very interesting because you have to work very on point. You have to be aware all the time. If you have normal patrol, of course, you should be aware all the time, but you cannot have awareness like 8 hours. So, but if you have a VIP, you really need to focus all the time. And
but that's difficult, right?
Yeah, it's difficult, and it's cool to see how the different squads work together. Like you have the close protection squad, you have us, the motorcycle squad, you also have the riot police working there, and you have sometimes you have people from other countries coming there. You have the drivers, you need to manage it all, or it has to be managed. And that was very interesting to see, and yeah, very cool.
You find it boring?
Yes, sometimes. But it's good that it's boring because you don't want any trouble. You don't want it not boring. So
this is where I had this conversation with quite a few people. I was talking to somebody last night about this, and it's like a lot of the close protection stuff is boring.
Yeah.
My first jobs in London many years ago was stood in a hotel corridor, 12 hours on, 12 hours off, 12 hours on, 12 hours off, looking at walls.
Yeah.
If you're lucky, you get a pot of coffee halfway through or something.
Yeah, we also did in the riot police because yeah, sometimes they are low on people, so we have to do it as well. And yeah, you just sit in front of the door all the time. And when I took out my book, they say, no books, no smartphones, no nothing. And I say, can we open a window for fresh air? No windows, no doors, no nothing. So
yeah, if you got a window, you're lucky.
Very long shift. So
I say to people, a good close protection course would just be to get a hotel corridor, put a chair outside of the door, and you got to sit there for 12 hours.
Right.
If the elevator opens, you stand up, sir, madam, etc. Sit back down again. That's it, 12 hours. And if you don't fall asleep, and if you come back the second day, then there's possibilities. Yeah. So all this with Germany, you had enough of Germany.
Also, yeah, we went on a sabbatical, so we traveled 6 months through South America because Max and I, we really love to travel, but just for holiday because we were both full-time working, and we really enjoyed it, and we couldn't do it for 2 years because of Corona. So after 2 years, we said, okay, we're done, let's go and just get out for half a year, and yeah.
Let me jump in. Max is your husband?
Max, my husband, right? Yes.
And he, as I said, he done a course with me, very professional, and he's a full-time paramedic, right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So you guys chose Paraguay.
Yeah.
You sorted out your residency in Paraguay.
Right.
Why?
Because at first it was just because we said, okay, it's easy to get. Okay, because we're not born rich or something, so we cannot just buy into something.
$500,000 on residency somewhere. Yeah, go on.
Right, yeah. So we said, okay, we could get it there. And of course, we wanted to learn the culture and the language and stuff like that, but you don't especially need it for this residency. So we said, okay, because we were interested in South America in general, we said, okay, it's the easiest to get into Paraguay and then travel the rest. And, yeah, with this residency in Paraguay, you can also have residency in whole Mercosur. So also in Argentina, Brazil, and Uruguay, and they also have other associates with over whole Southern America. So that was.
I used to deal a lot with Latin Americans when I was in South Florida. I've been to Venezuela, Colombia, Ecuador, in South America. I think it reached as far south as Paraguay. I know Paraguay, I think Paraguay's cleaned up the problems they had. They had some in the north of Paraguay, they had some kidnapping issues, some FARC issues. There was an off group up there. But it seems like a safe country. And again, everybody says Paraguay is one of the gems of South America because it's central and it's open and it's peaceful, it's pretty stable. So what's your plans there? Oh, so let me backtrack. What was the progress? What was the process for actually applying to get the residency? Because I know a lot of people I deal with are looking to get the hell out of the US or get out of Europe and find somewhere normal to live. So what was the process for Paraguay?
So for us at Germans, we need the birth certificate, and we needed let me look that up. Yes, I wrote it down here. Okay, you need a birth certificate, and you need your criminal background check, because you cannot have anything on this, and you need these documents double certification. So you not only need it from the office where you get it, you also need to send it, for example, where you're living right now, you need to send it to an office there, so they put their stamp on it and their signature and say, okay, yes, that's really the birth certificate from Germany, from where you are born. And then you need a translation of that. So then you send it to the embassy of Paraguay in your country, they translate it, and then you get it back, and then you can fly to Paraguay and do everything there.
How long is the process?
To get every certification, I think it took us 1 or 2 months. So it's better to prepare it 3 months in advance, because it was very tight. We were very good luck that we get everything before our flight was going.
You're in Germany. So Germany's a lot more efficient than other places. If you're talking UK, it's going to take people like 6 months.
And you can have it. It cannot be older than 6 months, but if you get everything 6 months in advance, there's no problem in Paraguay. So and in Paraguay, some people say on the internet that it can take 1 day, but we didn't witness that. So I know that there's like an express service, but it's way more expensive than having the normal service. So for us, it took nearly half a year. But the problem is, of course, we did everything in 1 day. But then they said, oh, now this officer is not here, and come back tomorrow, and come back tomorrow, come back tomorrow. So we've been 1 week, more or less, every day going to offices. And then they lost our photos. We went to a photographer he took photos. Then I don't know, a few months later, I called and say, hey, what's up with our cedula? And he was, no, you need to come take photos. And I'm like, we have been taking photos. And he was like, I don't think so. And we're traveling back to Paraguay, taking photos. So
it's Latin America. Everything, it's the same with, it's the same with South Florida, dealing with government there. It's like mañana, and you do everything properly, and they screw it up, and they blame you, and you have to go back and do it again, and they screw it up, and they blame you, and it's just getting used to that culture.
For us, it was not that bad, because we can travel visa-free more or less in all countries in South America, and we didn't want to stay the whole time in Paraguay, so it was fine for us because we traveled around, and then we say, okay, let's go back to Paraguay, take the photos, and but I think in total it took us 7 months till we get a photo that the cedula is ready. So you should schedule a lot of time, or way more time than people advertise it in the internet.
Okay, good. Now you're at the police. What's you and Max planning? What's your plans?
Yeah, we founded a startup. It's called Foxpedition, and we want to provide security concepts to NGOs, expeditions, and media companies, so that the staff which is employed by the company can go to a foreign country, do their work there, do their projects there, and come back safe and healthy like they left. So
why did you want to go private sector? Why did you want to get into the commercial world?
We saw a lot while traveling. Of course, these were private persons, but we saw a lot of people having incidents there or issues there. And of course they say, oh no, this is so much bad luck. But I think that, yeah, you can think about it in advance. So it's not just bad luck. You can, yeah, it should not happen to you if you're doing
this
things.
Is where a lot of people, I understand, like I say, I've spoken to Max about this and whatever, I understand completely. And you see people going to other countries and they've got no clue whatsoever.
Right, yeah.
No clue. They think they're going, especially when people want to go backpacking or hire a motorcycle and go, etc. They've got no clue about the laws, the regulations, the crime, etc. A lot of people, most of the problems they get into could be avoided with a little bit of pre-planning, a little bit of thinking, a little bit of avoidance, but everybody's an expert.
Right, yes.
I say time and time again, everybody thinks it's never going to happen to them until it happens.
Yeah, and I think some people enjoy it so they can tell nice stories and how cool they are, and yeah. But if you ask questions, they are telling you, oh, I got robbed and then everything was so bad, but I'm so cool, so it's now yeah, I grew out of it and stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, you should not have been robbed in first place if you stick to rules, like don't go alone in the night into a village you don't know or something like that, so you can avoid problems and it's not cool to get in trouble. And we also
sorry. Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah. Okay. We also noticed that because we get in contact with NGOs or with journalists or people like that, and we also noticed that security concepts there are not way better than people do it for themselves to fly private. And I don't get that, but we said, okay, we can make a business out of that. We can provide security concepts because there are some people out there, they have no clue at all, and they're doing it for business reasons. And if you are having an NGO or if you're having a media company, there's so much more which can go wrong. If you lose a truck, for example, which is full of food or medical equipment, it's so much more expensive than losing your backpack at the airport if you're a solo traveler. So,
but this is the thing, is a lot of people, I think they're in denial about security. It's that it won't happen to them attitude until it happens. And Latin America is cool, very cool. As I said, I've traveled there, I've worked there, and it's like, it's one of those places where it's very nice, it's very cool, the people are very nice, the people are very cool, but it can go bad very, very, very quickly. Yeah. And when it goes bad, same as Africa, Africa's cool. But if it goes bad, it can go bad very quickly, and you're gonna have huge problems, out of control problems. Yes. Whether it's been arrested, whether it's been assaulted, whether it's been chopped up, it can go bad very quickly. And again, a lot of people, I think they're in denial, and I'd say most people are lucky.
Yes, probably.
I would say most people are lucky. 25% of people have problems. About at this stage, I would say 1 or 2% have huge problems. Yeah. Yeah. And I say to my clients, it's like, you don't want to be one of that 1 or 2%.
No, no. But it's a different story, but we went hiking in Nepal, and of course we got a guide and everything, because I don't want to go hiking in Nepal on my own. Never been there, never been in such an altitude. So, but there were people which were hiking on their own, and our guide always says, okay, we get up early because in the morning the weather is always good, and in the afternoon it can turn bad, and if you're at a 3,000 meter altitude, you don't want the weather to turn bad. So but there are people, they drink every day and then they stood up late, and of course they also arrived with us or arrived at the same hotel, but I thought, okay, you're just lucky that the weather didn't turn. So, and our guide said it happens all the time, and it's not like, oh, okay, I can see the storm coming and now I can hide or something. It's just coming and you're in the middle of a snowstorm and you cannot do anything. So yeah, like you said, the most people there were just lucky, nothing happened. So
especially with the adventure stuff, I've had it when I was in US. I used to go into the Everglades, and sometimes I used to take people with me. And I had guys turn up with no equipment. You're going in the Everglades, generally the temperatures there, it doesn't get hot, but it's humid, and you need a lot of water, right? Just basic. You need to take, I always took like 2 gallons of Gatorade. I carried that, one for me if I need it, one for the guys, one for the people who's going in with me in case they didn't bring anything. I had one guy turn up with a little like cup of water, like a little travel coffee cup. I said, what's this? All he did is regular clothes on a cup of water. And we're going to go wade through the Everglades. All right. Yeah, I joked when he destroyed his clothes, whatever, but I had stuff for him. It's like, okay, come, I'll babysit you today. Another guy I was dealing with, he was trying to run like touring in the Appalachians, right? Up in northern Georgia. I forget the name, I think the Appalachian Trail. He was taking people on there. He ended up finishing because it was too much of a headache. He said people used to turn up too much equipment, and they end up, one, they can't carry all the equipment they've got. They've got a load of rubbish with them. Then they've never walked that far before. Then they're not used to the woods. They're not used to the bugs. They're not used to all this. But I think people watch too many TV programs these days and too many movies and think just going for a hike in the wilderness, oh, it's simple, until they get lost, until they have a problem. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, it reminds me of a guy we met in a restaurant, and this was this guy I talked about. He thinks he's very cool because he got in trouble, and he tells us how many mountains he's climbed in Nepal, and we did it ourselves. So we were asking, how did you do that much amount of way in that such a short time? And he was like, yeah, I just went through it all. I didn't sleep at all. I still have very bad headache. And I said, okay, maybe you should go to a hospital because it's not fun to have be sick of heights. You know what I mean? Can be damaged. You can be damaged very bad. And he was sunburned all over because he said, no, I think I don't need sunscreen. And I said, okay, in such height you need it, even if the sun is not shining, you just need it. And so he just went through all this way with no preparation, and he also was just lucky he didn't die up there, because if you're sick of heights, it can happen to him. So
you know what, my opinion is a little bit, how can I put it, my opinion is if such people die, then such is life, one less, right? So if they're not paying you, I'm a little bit cold, so if they're not paying you for the services, then best of luck to them. You know what I mean? It can be a good advertisement. Now, if you told him he died, if he'd listened, then no worries. Such is life, right? Yeah. I think what you and Max are putting together, it's interesting. What I said when I met him, when he came to me for a course, it's like, I think it's a good context because you got the paramedic side, you've also got your security background, police background. So yeah, I think it's interesting. So you guys are still in Europe at the moment. You're in Switzerland, right?
Right. Yeah. But we're traveling. Yeah, we're leaving Switzerland end of the month. So we're going to Canada and to the US because we still have studies to do for our general management studies. And after that, we travel to Central America. So because we've just been to Southern America and not been to Central America, we want to witness this as well. So
where are you going?
Basically everywhere. We're flying from Washington, we're flying to Panama, and then want to travel up to Mexico City.
Okay.
Yeah. Right now, I think the situation is very stable because 1 month ago there had been giant riots for election, for gang crimes and whatever. But I think in Nicaragua, I think, was gang crime. In Mexico was gang crime. And
Mexico's always gang crime.
Yeah, right. There was such a big gang crime, it even made news in Europe. So, and I think somewhere, I don't want to say it wrong, but there was an election and there have been riots against this election progress. And yeah, but I think now it's quite stable and I hope it will take 3 months.
South America, I can give you, there's a couple of people I can give you contacts for. But South Central America is the same as South America, but I think Central America at the moment is a lot worse because it's, how can I put it? There's a lot of people traveling up through Latin America into the US, etc. So South and Central America at the moment is a little bit volatile. Mexico's Mexico. You have to be careful in Mexico, but if you're not a threat to anybody, then no worries. But like all these areas, and I had a conversation with I talk to people about this stuff all the time, and it's like, you know what, people live there, people have good lives there. You just have to be careful.
Yeah.
And if your head's screwed on, then no worries. It's people to go out and make stupid mistakes and have problems.
Yes.
But Central America, I spent time in Mexico. I didn't really venture into Central America, I don't think, but it's pretty volatile. So you have to be careful. A lot of narcos, a lot of gangs. Central America, that's that part of the world. It's safe as long as you're switched on. If not, you disappear. That's it.
Yes.
So it's been nice talking to you. If I don't see you again, then it's been nice talking.
Yeah, I hope it will turn out good. So
yeah, you need to hope it turns out good. And anyway,
true.
I like the context what you and Max is putting together. So I hope all that works out. And again, you're well placed. If you can bounce it between Europe and Latin America, I think it'd be interesting. So congratulations. Anything you want to say to finish up?
No, I think it's fine. It was fun. It was cool.
It was fun.
Yeah, it was my first podcast.
First podcast. All right, congratulations. Next time I'll talk to Max.
Yes.
We'll talk to you both together somewhere in South America. Okay?
Yeah, why not?
Hopefully, we'll be talking normally and you won't be kidnapped. But if you're kidnapped, if you can talk when you're kidnapped, to make a really good podcast. Okay?
Yeah, that would be a million click video, I think.
Yeah, then you got to think about that. We can possibly arrange it. Okay?
Yeah. Okay. Right. Good. Bye. Have a nice day.
Schedule. Okay. All right. I'll talk to you next time. Okay.
Bye.
So I hope you enjoyed my chat with Inga. I hope it gave you a few things to think about, maybe some new topics to think about. I think her and her husband Max have got an interesting product with her police background, with his paramedic background. I'm sure they're going to be busy in the near future when they're ready, and also they're in for some interesting times and interesting adventures. So I wish them all the very best. If you're looking at the residency in Paraguay, I'd say you want to speed things up. You want to get on it as quickly as possible, because affordable places with offering second residencies these days, I think that program's going to be tightened up pretty quickly due to demand. So if you're looking for a normal place to live outside of Western Europe or the US, UK, etc., I'd look at Paraguay and get the ball rolling pretty quickly. In the meantime, I've got more interesting interviews with interesting people coming up in the next couple of weeks for this international security series that we're doing. We're also throwing these up in podcasts. So follow us along on social media. All the other videos we're doing to do with close protection, kidnapping, ransom, personal security, we're also putting them up on podcasts as well. So follow us along on social media. And if you've got any serious questions, please feel free to reach out to me. If you're connecting with me on social media, we're up on LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, etc., etc. So follow us along. In the meantime, be good, stay out of trouble. And if you can't stay out of trouble, do not get caught.